Hello everyone, good day. Welcome back to this channel, and for today's content we will have an educational video that talks about prime and composite numbers. Let us first discover about composite numbers. In addition with composite numbers, we will also learn about the two types of composite numbers, and we will discover the smallest composite number. So, what are composite numbers? A composite number has more than two factors, which means apart from getting divided by the number 1 itself, it can also be divided by at least one integer or a number. We don't consider 1 as a composite number. So meaning, based on the definition, a composite numbers has very many factors. Like say for example, number 100. Number 100 has many factors. It cannot only be divided by the number 1 and itself. So, meaning, number 100 is a composite number. We don't also consider 1 as a composite number, and it is also not considered to be a prime number. Thus, 1 is just only a natural number. It's not a composite number nor a prime number. Here is an example of a composite number. 12 is a composite number because it can be divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So the number 12 has 6 factors. Here is the representation. 12 divided by 1 is equals to 12. 12 divided by 2 is equals to 6. 12 divided by 3 is equals to 4. 12 divided by 4 is equals to 3. 12 divided by 6 is equals to 2. And lastly, 12 divided by 12 is equals to 1. So the numbers or the factors of 12, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, are the numbers that can divide the number 12 that will get a result that is a whole number, not in a decimal form or in a fractional form, but rather a whole number. So thus, 12 is a composite number. Let us have here an additional examples of composite numbers. 4, 6, and 9 are the few composite numbers. Let us take for example 6 and 9. In the above example, 6 and 9 are called composite numbers because they have more than two factors. Another one, 8 has multiples like 1, 2, 4, and 8, and 10 has multiples like 1, 2, 5, and 10. Meaning they are composite numbers as they are divisible by more than two numbers. Lastly, factors of 4 is equals to 1, 2, and 4. Since 4 has more than two factors, meaning 4 is a composite number. We have here fun facts about composite numbers. First, the numbers 0 and 1 are neither prime nor composite numbers. Second, all even numbers except 2 are composite numbers because as we all know, the number 2 is the smallest prime number. Third, 4 is the smallest composite number. Next, each composite number can be written as a product of two or more primes. Fifth, composite numbers are divisible by other composite numbers. So meaning, a composite number can be divided by another composite number. Like say for example, composite number 8. It can be divided by a composite number which is 4. So lastly, all composite numbers are always divisible by 1 and the number itself. Now, let's proceed to the properties of composite numbers. A composite number is a positive integer that can be formed by multiplying two smaller positive integers. Note the properties of a composite number listed. First, all composite numbers are completely divisible by smaller numbers that can be prime nor composite. Second, every composite number is made up of two or more prime numbers. The divisibility test is a standard method used to find a composite number. In this test, the given number is divided by a smaller prime or composite number. If it is entirely divisible, the number is a composite number. How to find composite numbers? In order to find the composite number, we find the factors of the given number. If the number has more than 2 factors, then it is composite. The best way to figure out the composite number is to perform the divisibility test, as what I have mentioned a while ago. The divisibility test helps us to determine whether the number is a prime or a composite number. Divisibility means that a number is divided completely with no remainder by another number other than 1 and itself. To do this, we need to check to see if the number can be divided by these common factors. Like say for example 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13. If the given number is even, then start checking the number 2. If the number ends with a 0 or 5, then check it by 5. If the number cannot be divided by any of these given numbers, then the number is a prime number. For example, 68 is divisible by 2, which means it has factors other than 1 and 68. So we can say 68 is a composite number. Now, let us explore the 2 types of composite numbers. The 2 main types of composite numbers in math are odd composite numbers and even composite numbers. Let us have a look at the 2 of them individually. First is the odd composite numbers. All the odd numbers which are not prime are considered to be composite numbers. For example, 9, 15, 21, 25, and 27 are some of an example of odd composite numbers. Consider the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 15. Here, 9 and 15 are the odd composite numbers because these 2 odd numbers have more than 2 factors and they will fulfill the condition of composite numbers. Second, even composite numbers. All the even numbers which are not prime are even composite numbers. For example, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16 are some of an example of an even composite numbers. Consider the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 15. Again, here 4, 10, and 12 are the even integers or even composite numbers because these even numbers have more than 2 factors and they will fulfill the conditions of composite numbers. As I have mentioned a while ago about the fun facts of composite number, I have said there that 4 is the smallest composite number. So now we have here the smallest composite number is 4. A composite number is defined as a number that has divisors other than 1 and the number itself. Now, as we start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and so on, we see that 1 is not a composite number because its only divisor is 1. 2 is not a composite number because it has only 2 divisors, which are the number 1 and the number 2 itself. 3 is not a composite number because it has only 2 divisors, which are 1 and the number 3 itself. However, when we come at number 4, we know that the divisors are 1, 2, and 4. So the number 4 satisfies the criteria of a composite number where a composite number must have more than 2 factors. Therefore, 4 is the smallest composite number. We have here some solved examples. Number 1. Check if 104 is a composite number or not. The given number 104 is divisible by 2 and hence have more than 2 factors. Therefore, it is a composite number. Second, check if 111 is a composite number. The given number is divisible by 3 and hence have more than 2 factors, meaning, therefore, it is a composite number. Third, check if 179 and 144 are composite numbers. Among the given numbers, 179 is not divisible by any number other than 1 and the number 179 itself. Therefore, 179 is not a composite number. 144 is divisible by 2, so meaning 144 is a composite number. Now, we have here frequently asked questions. First, can a number be both prime and composite number? Answer: no. A number cannot be both prime and composite. A prime number has exactly two factors, which are the number 1 and itself, while a composite number has more than two factors. So all natural numbers except 1 are either prime or composite but cannot be both. Second, is 0 a composite number? Any number multiplied by 0 gives the product 0. Hence, 0 has an infinite number of factors. To be composite, a number must have more than two factors, but not an infinite number of them. Hence, 0 does not qualify as a composite number. Third, are all even numbers composite numbers? Answer: no. All even numbers except 2 are composite numbers. 2 has only two factors, which are 1 and 2. Conclusion: to conclude, a composite number is a positive integer divisible by smaller positive integers other than the number 1 and itself. Composite numbers can be identified by using the divisibility test or the divisibility method. Now, let us explore prime numbers. Hello class, today we will be uncovering the mysteries of prime numbers. Feel free to ask questions as needed. Good luck, let's get to it. To begin this lesson, let's start out with a general definition of prime numbers. What are prime numbers? A prime number is any whole number greater than 0 that is only divisible by 1 and itself. In other words, a prime number only has two positive integral factors. Any questions so far? Very good question. Here are some common examples of prime numbers. Examples of prime numbers: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, and etc. These numbers are prime because you can only multiply to get to them using factors 1 and itself. The only way to get the product of 2 using positive whole number factors is by multiplying 2, the number itself, by 1. This makes 2 a prime number. We have 2 times 1 is equals to 2. This same quality applies to all these given numbers as well as an infinite amount of others. This unique quality justifies their status as prime numbers. Does anyone have any questions at this point? Yet another very good question. Prime numbers are very important in everyday life. How do we use prime numbers? Prime numbers are primarily used in an art called cryptography, which is defined as the process of writing or solving codes. Cryptography deals with the encryption of important information and is used in everyday exchanges such as credit card purchases, phone calls, emails, and etc. to protect and facilitate the exchange of information. How cryptography uses prime numbers? Modern cryptography often uses two large prime numbers and multiplies them together to get a product, which can only be produced by those two prime factors, making it very difficult to retrieve those factors from the product. Let's say you have two very large prime numbers and you multiply them together to get an even larger product. Now, imagine you are only given the product and how difficult it would be to find the two prime factors. This is a basic explanation of how cryptography uses prime numbers. There are infinite amount of prime numbers. As numbers get bigger, prime numbers become less and less frequent, and those prime numbers become harder to find. To this day, there is no known way to accurately find every prime number. Every year, mathematicians are finding new methods to find prime numbers.
In 1536, Marin Mersenne developed a semi-reliable formula to solve for primes, the Mersenne's prime formula. In order for this equation to work, the variable n must be a prime number. Let's try it out with a few values of n. Let's say n is equals to 2. Just simply substitute the value n is equals to 2 to the Mersenne's prime formula and then simplify. Then we get 3. Thus, 3 is a prime number. Now, let's say n is equals to 13. Just repeat the process in the previous example. Here, we get 8191 and it is also a prime number. However, not all prime values of n get prime number results. For example, n is equals to 11 does not yield a prime number. By following the process in the previous example, we get 2047 and it is not a prime number. 2047 has 4 factors, making it a composite number, not a prime. In conclusion, Mersenne's prime formula is a relatively dependable way to find primes, but there are a few exceptions to the rule. Now, you know the basics of prime numbers. Let's have a short real-life conversation about prime and composite numbers.
Hey Jeff, how was math class today?
Really great, we learned a lot.
What did you learn?
We learned all about prime numbers, composite numbers and their properties.
Tell me about the properties of prime numbers.
Prime numbers are numbers that can only be divided by 1 in itself.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that the only numbers that go into a number evenly are 1 in itself, like 3 or 17.
Then what are composite numbers?
Oh, composite numbers are numbers that have more than 2 factors.
What is a factor?
That's a whole number that divides exactly into another number.
Oh, I see what you mean. 7 is a prime number, since the only factors are 1 and 7, but 12 is composite, because its factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12.
Exactly.
So even numbers are all composite, right?
Actually no. 2 is not composite. It's prime, since its only factors are 1 in itself. But all the other even numbers are composite.
Wow, you learned a lot today in math class. Thanks for sharing.
Anytime.
And that ends this educational video. Thank you for watching and I hope that you've learned something out from it. So bye bye, keep safe, God bless always. See you in our next video.